The Oregon coast always felt alive to me, especially in the early mornings when the sun broke through the fog around 6:30 a.m., painting my kitchen window with a soft golden glow. My name's Tom Hargrove, a retired marine engineer who'd spent decades wrestling with the sea's raw power. Back in 2013, after a brutal winter storm sent waves clawing up to our back deck, my wife, Ellen, couldn't sleep for days. The ocean's roar wasn't soothing Anna Maria, it was a predator. So I did what I do best. I designed a seawall. I got every permit, dotted every I, crossed every T, hired a solid crew, and watched every slab of concrete and steel rebar go into place. It wasn't just a wall, it was my promise to Ellen that our home in Seacrest Bay would always be safe. After she passed in 2018, that wall became more than protection. It was her memory, a testament to doing things right. Every morning, I'd sip my coffee, stare out at the Pacific, and feel a quiet calm. That calm shattered on a crisp Tuesday in October 2024. A bright yellow notice was zip-tied to my front gate, the paper still damp from the coastal mist. In bold, accusing letters, it declared my seawall violated the Seacrest Bay Homeowners Association's aesthetic standards for obstructing ocean views. The fine? A gut punch, $18,500, due in 30 days. Aesthetic standards? My house sat at the bluffs. Nobody's view was blocked except maybe Lisa Carver's, the HOA president, whose fancy second-story deck sat 3 houses down. My blood didn't boil, it froze. Anger for me isn't loud, it's a slow, sharp focus. I snipped the zip tie, carried the notice inside, and laid it on my desk like evidence at a crime scene. Then I went to my filing cabinet, the one that's held 45 years of engineering projects, and pulled out a folder labeled Seawall 2013. Inside were my city permits, the mayor's office seals still raised and crisp, my blueprints, and even the canceled checks to the contractors. I packed them into my worn leather briefcase and walked to the HOA clubhouse, a place that always smelled of bleach and burnt coffee. Lisa Carver was behind her desk, a woman in her mid-50s who wore tailored jackets like a shield and wielded her authority like a club. She was lecturing a neighbor about an unapproved mailbox color when I approached. I waited, calm as stone, until she was done. "Lisa," I said evenly, "there's been a mistake." I spread my documents out, permits on top. She didn't even glance at them. Instead, she gave me a tight smile, the kind that never reaches the eyes. "Tom, no mistake. New community guidelines say your wall's an eyesore. It's got to go." I slid the permit closer. "This is a city-approved structure, Lisa, built for storm surges. Your rules don't override the law." She barely looked at it, just laughed a sharp, dismissive sound. "Those are old papers, Tom. HOA policy rules now. You've got 30 days. Her assistant, Claire Monroe, smirked from the corner, her eyes gleaming with petty glee. The meeting was over. I packed up my briefcase, the leather creaking in the quiet room, and left without a word. This wasn't about views. It was about control, and Lisa had just thrown down the gauntlet. I spent the next few days drafting a letter to the HOA board, citing Oregon coastal law and attaching certified copies of my permits. I sent it registered mail, believing reason would prevail. That belief died the following Monday at 7:45 a.m. A heavy truck rattled my coffee mug. Outside, a demolition crew was unloading sledgehammers and blueprints. I stepped onto my lawn, heart like a clenched fist. A guy in a neon vest from Coastal Wreckers handed me a clipboard with a document sporting the city's logo, claiming an emergency removal order for structural risk. But the seal was flat, the font off Calibri instead of the city's Times New Roman. It was a fake, and a sloppy one. Across the street, Lisa's SUV pulled up. She stepped out, arms crossed, a triumphant smirk plastered on her face. The first sledgehammer hit my wall, a dull thud that cracked something deep inside minute my resolve, but my faith in fairness. "Stop," I called, voice steady but loud enough to cut through the noise. "This is private property, and that order's a fraud." The foreman, a burly guy, waved over his security, a man named Vince in a tight black uniform with a badge that screamed homemade, labeled HOA enforcement. He blocked my path. "Go back inside, sir. This is official HOA business." I stared him down. "You're not a cop. You've got no authority here." His jaw tightened. "I've got Lisa Carver's authority." From her perch across the street, Lisa was on her phone, voice loud and theatrical. Yes, 9/11. There's an aggressive old man threatening workers. Please hurry. It was a calculated lie to paint me as unhinged. 20 minutes later, real deputies arrived, calm and professional. I showed them my permits. Lisa handed over her fake order. The senior deputy compared them, frowning, then sighed. Sir, this is a civil dispute. We can't settle property law here. Take it to court. They left, and Lisa's smirk widened. The crew resumed, Claire reading from a binder about scenic easement bylaws, like it was scripture. I didn't argue. I pulled out my phone and hit record. For 2 hours, I filmed every blow crowbars tearing at concrete, rebar snapping, the drainage system I designed to protect the bluff reduced to rubble. The destruction exposed raw earth, inviting erosion. When they finished, my yard was a scar, the bluff vulnerable. Lisa shot me a final victorious glance before driving off. Vince lingered, then slunk away. I walked inside, past the now unobstructed ocean view, and sat at my old Dell. This wasn't about paper, Anna Marie, it was about truth. I logged onto NOAA's site, pulling tide charts, storm surge maps, and quake reports. Lisa thought this was about a wall. She didn't know it was about to become a lesson in geology. I digitized everything. My permits, their fake order. Side by side on my monitor, the forgery was laughably amateur blurry seal, wrong font, an outdated department name. Then I checked the PDF's metadata. Creator, Microsoft Word 2019. Author, Claire Monroe. She hadn't even scrubbed her name. I called the city clerk, gave her the order's reference number. No such document exists, she said, confused. And it's time-stamped after hours. Our system doesn't have it. I leaned back, a cold satisfaction settling in. I emailed Lisa, Claire, and the board, laying out the forgery's flaws with screenshots and the clerk's confirmation, demanding they stop and pay for damages. Lisa's reply was pure deflection, baseless accusations. Our legal counsel finds the order valid. Cease your harassment or face fines. She was doubling down, betting I'd fold. I didn't. I edited a 3-minute video, my permits, the demolition, text overlays exposing the fake seal and font, and the clerk's statement. I uploaded it to local forums and a community Facebook group. By morning, it had 6,000 views, neighbors tagging reporters, outrage boiling over. That evening, my neighbor Sam, a quiet retiree, slipped me a manila envelope. Lisa's office, he whispered. Don't say it's from me. Inside was a memo from a developer to Lisa, outlining a plan to turn 5 bluffside homes, including hers, into luxury Airbnb rentals. My wall was listed as a view-obstructing structure, blocking their profits. This wasn't about aesthetics, it was greed, endangering the entire bluff for cash. I needed an expert. I found Dr. Maria Chun, a coastal geologist with a no-nonsense website full of data-driven case studies. On the phone, she was blunt, $3.50 an hour. I don't do HOA drama. I do facts. She arrived the next day in a weathered Jeep, inspecting the bluff's raw edge for an hour's oil tests, laser measurements, photos of every crack. Over coffee, she showed me geological maps. Your wall was this bluff's spine, she said, tapping her tablet. It deflected waves and stabilized soil. Without it, a big surge will gut this cliff, starting with Lisa's house. She filed her report with the city and HOA. At the next meeting, Lisa mocked it, mispronouncing Maria's name and calling it a paid scare tactic. The crowd laughed nervously, but her spell was cracking. Then NOAA posted a bulletin, a 7.9 magnitude quake off the Aleutians, triggering a Level 2 surge advisory for Oregon. Impact in 36 hours. I installed 3 cameras, one on my house, one hidden in a tree, one for time-lapse. The first rain came, and my cameras caught dirt sliding off the bluff. Time-lapse showed the cliff sagging, grass vanishing into the sea. I posted a second video, side by side, the bluff with my wall, then without, eroding daily. Lisa's lawyers sent a cease and desist, claiming privacy invasion. I forwarded it to a reporter, Emily Tran, who ran a front-page story. Retired engineer exposes HOA fraud, warns of bluff collapse. It included Maria's report, my footage, and the rental memo. Lisa's empire was crumbling. At 2:17 a.m. on November 3, 2024, sirens wailed a tsunami warning. The neighborhood's Facebook group exploded, but Lisa posted, "Just high tides, stay calm." I stayed, cameras rolling, coffee in hand. At 3:09 a.m., the sea surged, not a movie wave, but a relentless climb. My tree camera caught Lisa's foundation dissolve, her roses and patio vanishing, then half her house collapsing into the black surf with a gut-wrenching groan. My home held, thanks to leftover anchors. By dawn, Lisa's house was a jagged ruin, 2 neighbors' homes damaged. A Ring video from a neighbor captured Lisa in her driveway, screaming, "Why did we tear it down?" A confession etched in panic. The city's report was merciless. The HOA was guilty of illegal demolition and negligence. Lawsuits piled up. A board member slipped me a USB with original meeting recordings, proving Lisa faked minutes to justify her actions. The DA opened a criminal probe. At a packed emergency meeting in the local gym, Lisa resigned, her voice breaking under shouts of "crimes, not mistakes." She vanished from Seacrest Bay, her assets liquidated to cover damages. I got $194,000 to rebuild. With Maria, we designed a stronger wall, finished by spring 2025. The new HOA board, led by practical neighbors, hired Maria as an advisor. Standing by the new wall one evening, Maria said, "They could have listened." I nodded. They ignored science. The ocean didn't. What would you have done? Fought with words, or let the sea speak? Should I have warned Lisa, knowing she'd ignore me? Where would you watch this unfold, safe at home or up close, camera in hand? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more stories where truth fights back.